Welcome to this week's message from Anthem Church. We're so glad you're joining us online today. Our prayer is that this message encourages you, strengthens your faith, and helps you take your next step in following Jesus.
We're going to just take the next kind of 25 minutes or so to ask Byron and Candice some questions. Obviously, they've led church for many, many years. They carry an apostolic grace. Byron leads the team that leads the AOG group of churches. And so there's much here that we want to learn from and glean from. And over 7 years, I think we've had a relationship. There's been touch points, certainly in this community, but many conversations about this community. And so we're going to ask some questions that hopefully can stir us to these 5 tests, to passing these 5 tests. So I'll kick us off if that's all right. So I'm going big and trusting for your prophetic insight into Anthem Church. As you look at Anthem from the outside, what do you sense God highlighting that we should protect at all costs? And then a second question, just to get it out there ahead of time, is what do you sense He may be inviting us to grow in? But let's start with the first one. What do you sense here? What do you sense God highlighting that we need to protect at all costs?
Thanks, guys. Hi. I am observing a lot more this week. I mean, we've got a bit of a journey. I would definitely agree, and I think it's actually come up once or twice previously in our discussions that I would protect at all costs the beauty of your family, the family feel of your community. The relationships that you have in this place are something special, something we don't see in many, many churches. The connectivity, the relational influence, that you actually like each other and want to spend time with each other. It's pretty significant that you don't want to go home, you just want to hang in this cafe. So I think that the fact that you are a community that loves one another and loves Jesus so sincerely is so beautiful. The second part of your question was, remind me, what do you see them growing into? Yes, what I see you growing into. I would say do you want Byron?
That's a polite way of saying, what do we need to get better in? But what is God inviting us to grow in? Yeah.
Yeah, I think just observing again over the last weekend and previously, I think equipping more saints to do the work of ministry. Everywhere you look, there's incredible people doing incredible things. So don't get me wrong, you're the incredible people doing the incredible things because you're the volunteers, right? And you're the leaders. But there needs to be at least double of you doing incredible work, incredible things. So multiplying yourselves. Train someone to do the job that you're doing so that you can be released to do a job that they're doing, so that together we're doing the work of ministry and advancing the kingdom of God and moving forward in a profound way. I hope that's what I would say.
Yeah. What I would hold on to is this beautiful desire to be a reconciled community. I think it's something so special on your house. I think it's something so special. And that leads me into what I would grow into. What you have is that passion, that desire for that is worth exporting. Which means you're going to have to continue to enlarge your footprint. And I'm circling back to Can's point, which means you're going to have to gear for growth. Which means you're going to have to equip people with a passion and with a fire and with a determination to grow your core. If in 2 years' time we came back and this room, the auditorium was too small for this group, that would be amazing. Because that's what it'll take for you to grow your influence. And guys, what you have is worth exporting to the nation. So that's going to mean family turns to army. You know, church is a hospital, a family, and an army.
So good.
And it's got to be all three at the same time. But it's going to have to mean you have to grow your army component in order to mobilize outward. Yeah.
So that's great. Let's stick on that for a few more minutes. How do we do that, and whose responsibility is it? So as an example, we have a sign-up Sunday once a term that we speak from the front and invite people to join teams and, you know, try to envision people and what more could we be doing and who and how?
Yes, yeah. Do you want to go?
Yeah, it's everyone's responsibility. Once a year on a Sunday is hopelessly inadequate. And
Once a term.
Once a term. Still hopelessly inadequate. The point is, the more of us inviting people into their next, imagine what could happen. Hey, I see you're so good with that child, greeting them there and chatting. Hey, you'd be incredible in kids' church. We would love to have you serving alongside. Come and give it a trial and, you know, go to the right channels. Otherwise, they'll get locked up in jail if they're just in their kids' church. And they shouldn't be. But hey, like, I can see you could make some coffee. Come along to a training that we have. We'd love to incorporate you in this team. And we need so many more greeters at the door. It's not a huge responsibility, but it is important, and we love people, and we need more people to love more people. And so it's us inviting people into their next. And I think we speak about this all the time with our staff, with our church. It cannot just be from a platform up. It needs to be on the ground. Come and join us. Come and join us. This is incredible. We get to do life and faith and ministry together. There's no greater calling than to build the local church with one another.
Yeah, and Jax, the only thing I'd add onto that is that, and it's one bigger offering bread to another. Like, please don't think that Thrive Church has got all this right. Yeah. Like, seriously, it's a work in progress. But I think the goal is to infuse the church with this grand idea that what we've got here is so special, it must be replicated and multiplied. So it's a constant infusion. It's like drip feeding in every life group or small group meeting, and almost in every service, in every opportunity, to say, our community is amazing. Invite someone into it. Serving Jesus in this church is amazing. Join me. Yeah.
I think that leads, it's a nice segue into the next question, but it I think just extends this thought. So every church, we represent the broad the broad picture of Jesus, and then there are unique things about every local community, and so there is unique culture in every church, and there is kingdom culture which is inherent in every church. But what are some of the things you've had the privilege of being in many different church communities across this nation and globally, and so you've been able to see a lot and touch a lot. What are some of the kind of key behaviors, and that can be a broad term, that keep culture growing, strengthening, and multiplying, exporting in churches? Yeah.
Shall I go? I'll give this one. So I can't remember who coined the phrase, but I just want to piggyback on your thought about culture. Church can have a great vision, but it's culture that actually carries the house. So, you know, that statement's not mine, it's somebody's, I can't remember. Culture eats vision for breakfast every day of the week. Who's Craig Rochelle? Culture eats vision for breakfast every day of the week. So the thing that will multiply Anthem Church into the future is the replication of your culture. I think there's three things if you want to keep growing your culture. I think it's intentionality, I think it's repetition, and I think it's just communication of it. So intentionality, being ferociously intentional about our culture. we are a culture that welcomes, for example, I'll just take the reconciliation as, we are a culture that welcomes everybody, and we seek to be a reconciled community. That's part of your DNA and your culture. So it's intentionality, stamping out the opposite of your culture. So when you see something that transgresses your culture, being such a guardian of it, because what you allow will grow. So that's not how we do things here. Like, we had a lady who wanted to bring a shofar into the church and blow the horn. Like, we don't do that here because it will freak people out. You know what I mean? So not being afraid to be culture guardians. So intentionality, that's what I mean about it. Repetition, just speaking about it often. And then communication of it in creative and life-giving ways. That it births life to people.
You just said a term there, culture guardians. I think it's many of us, Durban North and Westville, I think there are similarities in culture, in not just Christ culture, in the culture of those two predominant suburbs, where politeness would say that I'm not going to correct you.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so we do see this quite a lot, that we would rather not correct somebody.
Yeah, sure.
And that culture guardianship,
Yes.
like, that's quite a profound thought.
Yeah.
And I think everyone sitting in the room, we've said yes to something. We've said yes to the kingdom of God advancing through Anthem. And so actually, if you're sitting in this room, you've given permission where you've given permission to other people to say, hey, listen, that was maybe a little bit off in your own life, without taking offense, because we all know that we're on the same story and trying to accomplish the same thing. But I love that term, culture guardians. That's, yeah.
Sorry, Jax, there you go. No, and it's just, Jesus had to correct Peter. And that's an example of where kingdom culture supersedes local culture. And we have to decide when we're guarding our culture, we have to decide whether this is a transgression of our culture or kingdom culture, and both. Yeah.
And I think there's, a way to do things, and I know that you would be polite, but we have to speak truth in love. No matter what. If you think about a worship team and you've got a call time of 6:30 and the team needs to be here at 6:30, and if the drummer is 20 minutes late, we can't just be like, oh, we're all so polite about it, and he walks in with, like, it's not like he had a flat tire and he just is like late. We can't just be like, it's okay, we'll just make up that time. We have to say, hey, like, is everything okay? Did something happen? We have to first start with kindness and finding out what happened. But then we have to say, listen, that wasn't okay. You put us on the back foot as a team. Our sound check is now running late, which puts pressure on the service. We all want to go into the service in a good way, prepared, well prepared. So we have to be able to say things, but in love and kindly. And it does one of two things. That person might take offense, and they leave, which is not our desire. We don't want people to leave out of offense. Or they might correct their behavior, both of which are preferable to the overall culture. Because the culture gets stronger. So that's the way I'm always training our team, thinking about, like, this is our pond, and we have blue circles and red circles, and let's just say the red ones are the ones who are not behaving in our pond and doing pond behaviors, like whatever we've determined is good. If someone becomes a red pond swimmer fish, becomes a blue fish, and then starts to toe the line, we have less red fish, right? That's better. Or if the red fish jumps out the bowl, it's still better. We're still better. So I think what works is we got to do things kindly and in love, but ultimately strengthen our culture.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking it might be easier to hear from a team member with you than, for example, the pastor coming to speak to you and telling you off. It feels much more significant. And yet, we may be in danger of then creating a negative culture where we all just criticize each other and don't feel good about being in a team. And so we have to be wise, we have to be emotionally intelligent, we have to learn how to love and how to cheer each other on and encourage, as well as like, hey, we both in here together, and to be able to call each other as brothers. I think in our home, when mum or dad walk in and be like, that is not okay, compared to when brother 3 tells brother 4, nah, I like, up your game, pick up your towel. Yeah. It's easier.
Yeah, much easier. Yeah. That's why it's a team. We carry this together. It's not up, down. It's, hey, we're in this together. We're moving forward together. We're advancing the kingdom of God together. And our culture is getting stronger together.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned it for many, many years, but it's that concept of renting versus owning. People who rent houses never treat the house the same way as people who own houses. And the idea is that we own this story called Anthem. We don't rent this space and the pastors are the landlords. Yeah. It's we own our collective, which means that we take care of the gutters and we fix up the things that are not looking so good. And it's our house. No one else is going to do it. It's us. And so will we do that?
Yeah. I saw that this morning in the foyer. Somebody arrived. I don't know what had happened, but there was something that had spilt on the floor. And next thing you know, there's a broom and a dustpan, and it's getting kind of swept up, and it was gone like in 3 seconds. It was awesome. Yeah.
So you guys have been leading for a while. I'm wondering if there is a decision that you made or even something that you implemented that felt small at the time, but as the years went by, it actually had incredibly significant impact.
Must go. Yeah. Defining the identity of Thrive. Yeah. So we put words to it. We said at Thrive, we're warm, authentic, passionate, and future-minded. And it took us a long time to wrestle those 4 words down to the essence of who we wanted to be. And we wanted something that was both that resonated with who we felt like we were as a church, but that was also able to be remembered and be able to be portable. So that at the time didn't feel very sexy at all. Like, it's like, okay, you got 4 words. So you are warm, authentic, passionate, future-minded. Move along. Can we hear the sermon kind of vibe? But that gave us a tremendous amount of magnetic or true north as we navigated over the years to know who we are.
And then your culture would be how you express that identity.
Yes, 100%. So nailing that down, because Candice and I started leading the church when it had a different name, much like you guys did. And as with any leadership transition, especially when the leadership transition, the previous leaders are of a different generation, there's a lot of things that are done in a certain way, which is wonderful for that time, but then needs to change. And you don't want to be the young arrogant guy who comes in and makes changes, but some changes need to be made. And we could write a book on all the things we did wrong, guys. That would be, a bad book.
Don't read it.
But the reason I mention that is because defining the identity and the culture, and the value set, really did set us free to just chart the course and to know when something was good and when something wasn't. Yeah, hope that helps.
I think I would add our purpose, what's our purpose? Why do we exist as a church? For us, it's helping people move towards Jesus, and that's in whatever their next is. So I think the hard work was in figuring out who we were.
Yeah.
And then what's been, I think, even more tricky is sticking to that. Because we could be 1,000 things to 1,000 people, and we're like, no, wait, this isn't the essence of who we are. And alongside that were some of our values. We have Thrive 10 values that we've wrestled down and we keep bringing up and at times we have to speak about honor because that's one of our values, because we have to put a Bunsen burner under it and light it again. Sometimes it's excellence, sometimes it's prayer, sometimes it's worship. So we have our values, but what's important is that we just keep rotating between them and acknowledging, okay, this is a value that we are not, as a community, holding as a value. Like when we come into worship, and you'll know, and all of a sudden the worship is not doing what worship should do, and people are spectating, then one of us would need to, or one of our team, get up on stage and, hey guys, at Thrive, worship is a value. We value the worship of God, and then the why behind that, because it's all about Him, and our focus here is not about ourselves and our amazing band, as amazing as they might be, and our amazing team, but it's about the worship of God. And we've come in here, we've chosen to be here to worship, and so we Bunsen burner worship for a bit. So I think those things in the early days were very important, and then continually keeping to those. Yeah.
Jumping a little bit from that thread, just as you've gone, leading church over years, there's seasons where you really strengthen what God has done, and you put root to that, and then there are seasons when you're really going after something new. And so I'm always looking for going ahead. It's my natural disposition. But yeah, just I suppose the question is, how do you, have there been some things that are clear markers to being able to discern a season or a time to strengthen what exists versus a time to pioneer something completely new? And I'm going to ask the backup question after that.
Okay. Do you want to go first about the plant?
Yeah, so the moment I read this question a little earlier, the visual that came to my mind was of a pot plant. And it correlates so clearly to me with the church, in that when that pot plant is just like so weak and needing stakes on either side, if you think like a rose bush that sometimes needs stakes on either side, in my mind, that is not ready to be transplanted anywhere. And so what needs is the strengthening. And when I can start to take the stakes around it off and it stands by itself, then I would leave it for some time to grow and to get some strength. And this is not numerical growth. It's a strengthening. The roots are getting deeper, and the stem is getting thicker, and the leaves are getting fuller. And once it outgrows that pot plant that it's in, where there's literally no more room for it to grow, then when it looks like it might now stagnate or start to decline, is the moment we take it out of that and plant it in a garden. And that's how I feel about the local church and ministries. And I think different ministries can be in different places at different times, right? So our kids' church might be in a place where it's busting, and we need to like add new classrooms and new classes and export this somewhere else, and maybe have a Friday youth group as well as a Sunday church, and because it's ready and it's got life and it's busting and the leaders are ready and everybody's poised for that next. But perhaps, and I'm going to use the worship team because those are my areas, the worship team doesn't have enough pianists, and the worship team doesn't have enough vocalists, and not enough soundmen that are trained, and well, then that's not ready to go. If it still needs stakes, if it still needs strengthening.
So in that example, you wouldn't necessarily launch a new service.
Exactly, sorry.
Because,
I was getting it.
Yeah, okay, because the worship team doesn't have enough strength.
Because you have to look at all these elements to make decisions. We can't start an evening service if we don't have at least two teams, because we generally don't want to use the same team to do 3 services in the morning, in our case, and then 1 in the evening.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to start something new until we strengthen. And so then our focus needs to be, let's strengthen. Let's put stakes in the ground here. Let's do whatever we need to do to, fertilize that soil. Go on training courses. Do whatever we need to do to strengthen it before we export it. And so I think there is a discernment of each ministry and then the church as a whole as to where are we poised. Are we still needing stakes in the ground? Are we fairly self-sufficient, but not yet like a stable tree if a wind blows, Or are we stable and ready, and can this be exported to something different? That was just the visual I got.
Yeah, just one thought to add is, like, I think if you're deciding whether to strengthen something or start something new, I guess you've got to decide, is there life in it, and does it align with your purpose? So if you're wanting to launch something new, is there preceding life in something that can give birth to, that can sow into it? Like for a practical example, if you're starting an evening, is there so much life in the morning that it's time now to sow into the evening, you know? Is there life, and does it align with your purpose? Quite simply, sometimes the equation is just an energy equation. Is it worth the effort? Is the reward, is the payoff profile smart enough? And sometimes that's just a conversation of all the best, most wisest people in a room. Let's kick this around and get because your question was, how do you discern? I think the discernment can be in wise voices. Sometimes we feel so at sea, we feel so clueless about what to do about something. And somebody in the room will just have a thought. They don't even know that thought's been helpful, but it's like, wow.
Yeah, and I think discernment is also asking the Holy Spirit, like, what are we doing in this moment? Holy Spirit, what are you saying to us? Where are we as a community? What is your next for us? Where's your life? We're always looking for where's the hand of God in this season, on what area. And like for us, it's always this last little season, it's been on our encounter nights. It's just the soaking worship times and ministry times once a month. That's where like literally you see the breath of God in our church. We're like, well, that's not going anywhere until we don't feel there's life in that space anymore. Yeah.
Are there ways that you can do both? Should you ever do both together? Be strengthening something needs strengthening while you are also taking ground. I'm thinking of your app example, where we need to activate, and activating will help.
Yeah, I think sometimes, Jax, out of necessity, you've got to strengthen something that might be falling apart, that just you can't afford for it to fall apart. So you're strengthening that. But then you also sense God calling you into something new. But the discernment for us there is like, it's an energy equation again. Is there capacity and energy to do both? If not, strengthen that which aligns with your core and with your purpose. Get that strong, and then go after the new. Yeah, I know Rich has got more, so I don't want to say too much more.
I'm going to ask one last question, and then we're going to wrap it up and go and build a burger. The question you've got, I'm changing the words because it was an unfair question to you. As you have experienced Anthem, and so the first question was, what would you hold on to? But it's going to just change a little bit. As you see us, next 5 years, what do you think we should be, what is there anything that you've picked up that you think we should be putting most of our energy and resource into, and leadership capacity into?
Yes. Leadership development. Few reasons why. You've got this is such an unbelievable community, Westville and Durban North. There's such amazing people in this. We went to the rugby yesterday. It's so civilized compared to the Jeppy Cares game. Like Durban, you guys are so nice. You're so polite. No, but there's such thought. Really, I'm not being facetious. There's such establishment of values and culture in this area. There's such thought leadership. There's so much history. There's so much legacy in this area. People have had a lot deposited into them in this area, like their families that have lived in this area for generations. So what I'm saying there is, to whom much is given, much is required. And what I sense is that the capacity and the capability in the people in this area is ripe for leadership. I'm not just talking about Anthem. I'm talking broader than your church. I'm talking about the neighboring communities, right? You can find amazing leaders And my prayer and my hope is that people of leadership, people of caliber, people of capacity, people of resource, of means, people that can carry the gospel well. You can have somebody that can come to faith in Jesus, and they were scolly before they came to faith in Jesus, and then they're scolly afterwards. But they're not. And now so like they start to look more like Jesus. But I'm saying this. There's such an amazing ethos and culture in this area. And I know it comes with all of its challenges as well, but I'm just saying there's such fabulous people around here that imagine that they came to Anthem, you reached them as a community, and you built leadership into them, or you more accurately, you helped the leadership already in them blossom. I'm thinking of the gospel effect of that. Yeah. How big your reach could be, how amazing your impact could be. The foundations that could start, the justice ministries that could emerge, the reconciliation efforts, the bucks that could be put behind reconciliation, like in this country. Yeah, hey, I'm dreaming a little bit like on your behalf of like so a short answer. Leadership development in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think I'll just piggyback on that.
Yeah.
There is so much more, firstly, in each of you in the room. I see so much gifting in this room that's almost being underused, in that there is more in you. Step into what God has called of you. At this point, if you're giving 2 of your talents, but you've got 5 talents, give your 5 talents and watch how God multiplies those talents. I really do believe, like my sense is that you're on the edge of like, I've got this, God, but almost like a little bit afraid to give your 2 loaves and fish, and you're not like giving it all. Well, throw it at the feet of Jesus and see what he can do with it, because there is so much more in this community, and God has so much more for you personally, but not just for you, for this area and what could be. South Africa needs more churches like this. Friends, South Africa needs churches like this that look and feel like you, a community of people who love one another and who love God with all of their heart and who are working out their faith and life with one another. This is beautiful. This is the body of Christ. This is what Christ died for. And so give yourself to it.
Because if Anthem's going to have 10 campuses in the future, it's going to need how many more leaders? Yeah. There you go. And I'm not saying that's the vision. I'm just
We receive it.
thinking.
We receive it.
Yeah. Rich, there's one more comment. Sorry, and can I just go on a little bit of a prompting? I won't take long. I think like what can happen in a church when a church gets fired up and every single individual carries fire in their lives. And fire is consecration. Tomorrow night you've got prayer and fasting. Hey. Fire spreads. Fire heats up things next to it. Just my parting word to you is like, just desire and go after the fire and the presence of God. And as you do, you'll carry it. You'll spread it. You'll set other people on fire. And that's what this community needs. That's what this area needs. That's what Durban needs. Yeah. Just fired up, hot people. Don't let the fact that you've been a Christ follower for years lull you into just going through the motions with God. Say, God, I want fresh fire. I want fresh manna. I want to be like Peter and John. I walk past people, my shadow touches them, they get healed, I want to look into the depths of people's souls and be able to give them a word of knowledge. I want to be able to free them with a word that God gives me. I want to be able to attract resource so that I can see this house grow. God, give me unusual amounts of consecrated fire.
Thank you for watching today's message. If you'd like to take your next step with us, get connected or find out more about Anthem, visit our website or reach out through the Church Center app. We'd love to walk the journey with you.